Here's a fun fact for you. Over 70% of small business owners say they plan to fund their retirement by selling their business. But here's the part nobody talks about. Less than 20% of those businesses actually sell. Less than 20%. Most owners hold on for the business too long, or they wait for the perfect moment, or they get emotionally attached, and eventually they either burn it down, they pass it down to someone else unprepared, they make a bad deal, or they just watch it slowly die with them. But what if selling your business at the right time to the right buyer wasn't the end of it? What if it was actually the beginning of your greatest decision you could ever make? That's what we're here to talk about today, okay? Welcome to Maldona Equity. My name is Gilberto Maldonado, and this channel is built for business owners who are serious about selling their business in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Today's video is specifically for the entrepreneur who has spent years or maybe even decades building something from nothing. You sacrificed weekends, you made payroll when you didn't know how, you've showed up when no one else would. And now, whether you've thought about it or not, there's a question sitting in the back of your mind. What do I actually do with this business that I've built? Some people do it for cash flow, but other people, and most people, just want to sell it, want to exit, want to get a big, profitable check at the end of the day. And so that's what I want to answer today, right? So here's the thing, right? Here's a mindset trap that I see constantly amongst small business owners. And I say this with full respect because it comes from a good place. I built this, but I'm not selling it. That is a mindset a lot of people have. That sounds like loyalty. It sounds like pride. And honestly, it is. Building a business is one of the hardest things a person can ever do. And non-business owners are never going to get that. And holding on to something you built feels like the honorable thing to do. But let's be honest about what never selling actually looks like in practice. It looks like the owner who's 62 years old and still can't take a 2-week vacation because the business falls apart without them. It looks like the business that is generating real revenue, has real value, but the value is completely locked up without being able to access it, without being able to go liquid. It looks like a business that was worth $2 million at its peak that the owner held on to for 5 more years waiting for the right time, only for the market to shift, key employees to leave, and the valuation to collapse. Here's what most business owners don't realize. Your business has a peak value window, and that window doesn't stay open forever. The question is never really if you'll exit your business. It's how you'll exit your business. That is important for you to think about. And whether you'll be in control of that moment when it comes. Now, let me flip this whole thing entirely, because this is what it goes to get good. When a business owner sells at the right time to the right buyer at the right price, something great happens. They get their life back. That's what happens most of the time. I'm talking about the owner who gets to the closing table, ready to do a deal, receives a wire transfer that represents 20 years of their work. And for the first time in 2 decades, they wake up on a Monday morning and they can do whatever they want. They can travel, they can invest, they can start a new venture, a new project, this time with capital, with experience, and with no debt and zero desperation. Some of the most successful second chapter entrepreneurs I've studied didn't build something new from scratch. They sold their first business, took the proceeds, the capital, and deployed them into something smarter and more scalable and opportunity. That's not quitting. That's actually, from my mindset, graduating, going on to the next level. And here's what I want every business owner watching this to hear, especially if you've been running your business for more than 5 years. You didn't build a job. You built an asset. That is what you built, an asset, not a job. Assets are meant to be leveraged. They're meant to generate returns. One of the most powerful returns you can generate from an asset you've built is a strategic, well-timed exit that puts life-changing capital in your hands. That is not betraying what you built. That is the entire point of building it. And look, let's talk about the financial move you can do. Let's talk money, because this is where a lot of business owners genuinely leave millions on the table. Most small business owners have the vast majority of their net worth tied up in one illiquid asset, their business, if that business does $500,000 in EBITDA and it sells at 3x multiple, that's a $1.5 million check. If it's at $1 million of EBITDA or profits at a 3x multiple, that is $3 million. $3 million of an exit you can actually generate. Now, here's the thing nobody tells you. The buyers who are out there right now, holding companies, private equity firms, private equity groups, acquisition entrepreneurs, they're actively looking for businesses exactly like yours, with real cash flow, with established customers, with systems that work, with a good management team. The market for small businesses is real and it is active. So there's a lot of buyers out there. But most owners wait until they're exhausted. They wait until they get the right terms, until there's a health scare, or until a key employee leaves. And they sell from a position of desperation, which is why a lot of sellers get bad terms. And honestly, desperate sellers don't get good deals. They just don't. And so the owners who get the best exits are the ones who prepared early. They clean up their books, their financials. They reduce owner dependency. They make the business attractive before they need to sell it. And they find buyers who actually understand the value of what they built. Not buyers trying to lowball them because they smell desperation. That's the difference between an exit that changes your life and one that just closes a chapter per se. So, hey, your legacy doesn't have to end, right? I want to address this emotional side of this because for a lot of owners, that's the real blocker. If I sell, what happens to my employees? What happens to what I built? What happens to my name? Those are real legitimate concerns, right? I totally understand. And they're actually signs that you care deeply about what you created. That's a good thing. But here's what I've come to believe. Selling to the right buyer isn't the end of your legacy. It's actually how you protect it. A good buyer, a strategic buyer who understands your business, who has resources you don't, who can invest in your team and the systems, who can take what you built to a level you never could have reached alone. Your employees keep their jobs. In many cases, they get more opportunities. Your customers keep getting served. Your reputation stays intact. And you get to walk away knowing that what you built didn't just survive you, it grew beyond you. And it moved on to the next chapter. So that's not a loss. That's a win on every level. Now, I just want to say, if you own a business, especially one doing over $1 million in revenue, and you've never seriously considered what a strategic exit could look like for you, I want to challenge you to start thinking about it. Not because you have to sell, but because something is wrong. But because understanding that the value of what you built and knowing your options is just smart business. At Maldona Equity, we acquire small businesses from owners who are ready for their next chapter. And we're not vultures looking to strip businesses apart like private equity firms usually do. We're operators who believe that a well-run small business is one of the most powerful assets on the country and on the planet. And we acquire them to hold for the long term, to grow them, and to run them indefinitely. If that's something you want to learn more about, the link is in the description. You can also visit us at maldonaequity.co. And if you're not ready to sell, that's completely fine. Stick around. The channel is going to cover everything from deal structuring to AI-centered systems, AI-powered growth, to how we're building a holding company from scratch in real time. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.